Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time, and over the past couple of days I've been highlighting the comments from the US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. He's actually been all over the news. He's been on different news outlets, CNBC, Fox News, and he's been talking about the GOP side, the administration side of this gridlock, if you will. And today we had a press conference with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who did an extensive press conference where she talked about the Democrats' position, and she actually put up essentially a comparison chart, if you will, where she highlighted the key differences between the Democrats and between the GOP in terms of anti-hunger and food assistance, anti-eviction and rent assistance, testing and tracing, and finally the importance of getting our children back to school and money for school safety. So I'll be analyzing that press conference in more detail. I will also provide you with a link to the entire press conference in the description below, so you can watch the entire thing for yourself if you so choose. But let's jump right into it. And the highlights of these segments of what we're going to outline in this video are that the House Speaker said that the administration has not understood the gravity of the situation. These are the words of the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. She also said millions of children in our country are food insecure. That's what she said. And she also said that 62 out of the 100 largest school districts in our country will open virtually, and the way the administration has set up funding is that there'll be no money allocated to them, because the money will only be allocated to schools that have actual in-person learning. And finally, she said that this is about the boardroom table versus the kitchen table, essentially highlighting the key differences, the key ideological differences between the Republicans and the Democrats. So let's jump right into the first segment of what she talked about. She was asked specifically, what are the key differences and why are you folks so far apart? And House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said that you folks ask why we can't resolve our differences. I want you to understand how vast those differences are. And then she provided a chart, and you'll see that chart because I'll show you an actual clip from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's press conference. She said, it's no wonder there's a vast difference, because this administration and the Republicans in Congress have never understood the gravity of the situation. She said they call it a hoax. And she said that, this is not a hoax. And she said, I believe that science will help us get through this, and it is not a hoax and it's not going to go away. And she said that this whole pandemic has actually picked up steam. And she said it's like a freight train coming down the tracks. And she said they act like it's a slow ship. So let's look at the comments of the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in a press conference that was done a few hours ago. Let's watch this.
When sometimes some of you reporters ask, why can't we resolve our differences? I want you to see how vast those differences are. It's no wonder we have a vast difference, because this administration and the Republicans in Congress have never understood the gravity of the situation. For months, and even until now, they have ignored the science. They called it a hoax. By miracle it would go away. I'm a deeply religious person. I believe in miracles, and I believe the miracle of science will help us through this. Magically, it would go away. It was a hoax. No, they are the hoax. And so the virus has picked up steam, and like a freight train, is coming down the tracks. And they, like a convoy, going as slow as the slowest ship.
In the second clip, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi focused on the children. She emphasized that she was a mother of 5 children and she was a grandmother to 9 children. And in her words, she said that all of the inequality as far as food for children is concerned was exacerbated because of the pandemic. She said in the bill, the Democrats asked for $60 billion to meet the hunger needs of the American people. And she said the GOP came out with $250,000. That's what the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said. And she said that as far as a moratorium is concerned, she addressed the eviction moratorium as well. She said the president said that he was going to do a moratorium that would have been great, but a moratorium without money is not that great. And she said that we tried to get approximately $100 billion for rental assistance for evictions for renters. And she said that the GOP was not on board with that. And she said that, they were simply not seeing eye to eye about both of these aspects. Let's watch exactly what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had to say about this.
And again, let's just talk about it from the standpoint of the children. As you know, as mother of 5, grandmother of 9, advisor to people with children, whether they want my advice or not. I want to just talk about the children. Millions of children in our country are food insecure. That has existed before the virus. It is completely exacerbated because of the virus. And so in the bill, We have over $60 billion to meet the hunger needs of the American people. Food stamps, WIC, Women, Infant, and Children Initiative, food banks, other food nutrition initiatives. In the GOP that came out a couple weeks ago, $250,000. $60 billion, $250,000. Does that say anything about a value system? Millions of families are on the verge of eviction in our country. We tried to get this legislation earlier in early COVID bills. They rejected it. Now the moratorium has come to an end. We need a moratorium. Yes, they said the president was going to do a moratorium. That would have been great. But a moratorium without money is not that great. The Princeton Eviction Lab, the Low-Income Housing Coalition, all of these authorities have told us it will take about $90 billion. In the current situation, we have $100 billion in the HEROES Act. They have zero, nothing.
And in the next segment, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi talked about getting our kids back to school. Now, I have to tell you that this is an intensely personal decision for all of us as parents. And I understand that there are a lot of emotions involved here. So again, the decision is for you as a parent. But the administration is focused on getting kids back to school as quickly as possible. And Speaker Pelosi actually pointed out that out of the 100 largest school districts, she said, out of the 100 largest school districts, 62 of those largest districts have declared that they will open virtually, completely virtually, remote learning, another 15 or so hybrid. And she said that the way the administration has set up the funding for schools is the funding will only, as far as what she said, is the funding will only go to schools that have in-person learning, which is going to be a problem because a lot of parents, and if you look at the comment section below, do not want to send their children back to school because of safety concerns. These are indeed valid concerns. This is an intensely personal decision that parents have to make for their children. So what she said was a small number, the president's money will go to schools that open actually when it is a small percentage of those 100 schools. Let's listen to exactly what Speaker Pelosi said about this subject.
If we do not defeat the virus, we're never going to be able to open our economy and open our schools safely to send our children to school. $75 billion. They had 15. They went up. Oh, we'll go up to 16. 16, this is what they went up to. Since the bill 90 days ago, and the fact that we were hopeful that if we could pass it then we could stop the spread of the virus, but since we didn't, the virus has taken its additional toll. It has made matters worse in terms of opening the schools. So we've increased our number because the Association of School Superintendents say we need at least $200 billion in order to safely open the schools, and that does not include $4 billion. They were very precise for technologies for kids for virtual learning, remote learning. They have 105. But what's interesting about their 105 is the bulk of what they have in the bill goes to only schools that are opening actually. Only schools that are opening actually. Of the 100 largest, see, we learn every day from those who are on the front lines instead of those who are on the sidelines. From the 100 biggest, the largest school districts in the country, the 100 largest, 62 of those largest districts have declared that they will open virtually, completely virtually, remote learning. Another 15 or so, hybrid. A small number, actual. But the president's money, he says, will go to the schools that open actually, when it is a small percentage of those 100 top schools.
And in the final segment that I'm going to outline in this video, and this was extremely telling, Speaker Pelosi was asked, when are you folks going to start talking again? When are actually negotiations going to get back on the table? Because right now there's complete gridlock, there's a stalemate, it's a standstill, nothing is happening at the moment. And what Speaker Pelosi said is I don't know when they're going to be ready to come back with $2 trillion. That's when we'll talk. So she said, hey, they need to come back with $2 trillion and then we'll talk. That's exactly where Speaker Pelosi stands. And those were her own words. And she said, I've outlined the differences. And she said that She said that this is a difference fundamentally between philosophy. She said they think of the boardroom, we think of the kitchen table. So she said, again, she repeated this because she did say this before. She said, perhaps you mistook them for someone who gives a damn. This isn't the case. So we are very far apart. And unless they see the reality of what it means in the lives of the American people, what good is it for us to agree to something that has no relationship to meeting the needs of the American people? Let's watch exactly what Speaker Pelosi had to say about this.
I don't know when they're going to ready, when they come in with $2 trillion. Yes, ma'am.
Madam Speaker, thank you. Can you just say, you've outlined the differences here.
Well, these are just some,
Some of
par
them.
example, because it shows the difference in values.
You've outlined the differences, some of the differences. You've talked about how you believe you are on just different pages in terms of your values. What do you gain at this point? Is there anything that you gain by waiting? And do you feel that even a half a loaf in this situation, something to stem the crisis, would be better
Perhaps
than
you don't
nothing?
understand nothing. 250. This is not half a loaf. This is not even being in the same room. Boardroom table, kitchen table. So I appreciate the goodness that you asked that question, but perhaps you mistook them for somebody who gave a damn. That isn't the case. So this is very far apart. And unless they see the reality of what it means in the lives of the American people, what good is it for us to agree to something that has no relationship to meeting the needs of the American people?
So there you have it, everybody, exactly where things stand now. The latest information from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the latest announcements, and that chart where she outlined the differences between the Democrats and the GOP was indeed quite telling, because it gives you a visual representation of where the gridlock lies. Now, over the last couple of days, I've been covering a lot of information coming out of US Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, who's been saying certain things. And now I covered House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who has her position. You're free to decide. You're free to decide what you believe about this, but I wanted to present you with both sides, because House Speaker Nancy Pelosi essentially didn't say much over the past 2 or 3 days, and she did come out today and sort of clarified her position. There were more segments that were worth analyzing. I'll be doing those in a separate video. But for the moment, let me know what you thought about her comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Go ahead and type out in the comment section below and let me know what you think about Speaker Pelosi's comments and what you think needs to happen for us to be able to break through this gridlock, so that negotiations and so that discussions and so that bipartisanship can start again. Right now, it doesn't look like anything much is happening, but at least now you know both sides of the story and you can come to an informed decision on your own. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I do read all the comments. If you did learn something new from this video, please click the like button, because we quickly analyze the videos, we quickly identify clips that are relevant for the community, and we quickly try and highlight information so you don't have to go through the whole press conference, which is quite a lot to sit through. So I will provide you with a link to the actual press conference below so you can watch it for yourself. Please subscribe if you're not a member of our community already. Please enable notifications so you get instant updates from us going forward. This channel is called Ignition Time. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda. If you don't know anything about me, I live the American dream. I believe I am a symbol of American exceptionalism. You can check out my story where you can learn a little bit more about me and how I was able to achieve the American dream. Hopefully, once we get through this crisis, I can help you achieve the same. If you want to receive breaking news and alerts from us, please get your cell phone out, type out the message Ignition or Time, either one of them, because the name of the channel is Ignition Time, and send a text message to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to our text message, our SMS list, and you can opt out at any time. You'll also be asked to agree to a disclaimer if you want to get on our email list, and you can opt out of the email list at any time as well. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. I really appreciate you watching. Let us know what you think of Speaker Pelosi's comments in the description section below. I'm looking forward to interacting with all of you in the comment section. We'll see you in the next video at Ignition Time. Thank you so much. Bye.